Hi guys, WineTuber here, and in today's video I'm going to talk about differences between two most popular Italian sparkling wines, which is Prosecco and Franciacorta. So, let's get started! Before we start, many thanks to Ben from Liberty Wines and the Corsica Wine and Spirit Merchants for helping me with this video. And if you're watching my channel for the first time, please consider to subscribe. Both wines, Prosecco and Franciacorta, are produced in the northern part of Italy. Franciacorta is made in Lombardy, which is Prosecco is produced in Veneto, and approximately 10% of Prosecco is also produced in the Friuli area. The second difference between Prosecco and Franciacorta is the grape varieties permitted in both appellations. There are 9 grapes allowed in the Prosecco production, including Verdiso, Bianchetta Trevigiana, Perera, Glera Lunga, Pinot Bianco, Pinot Grigio, Chardonnay and Pinot Noir, quite long list. And finally Glera. Each Prosecco needs to contain at least 85% of this particular grape variety. On the other hand, there are only 4 grapes permitted in the Franciacorta production, which is Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, called locally Pinot Nero, Pinot Bianco, also known as Pinot Blanc, and finally small proportional grape variety called Herba Mate. Third, and definitely the most important difference between Prosecco and Franciacorta, are the method of production. The bubbles of both wines are created during the second fermentation, but the main difference between Prosecco and Franciacorta is that the bubbles of Prosecco are created in stainless steel tanks, and then wine is bottled under the pressure and released to the market in a few months' time. This technique is called Charmat and was invented in 1895 by Federico Martinotti. On the other hand, the second fermentation of Franciacorta takes place inside the bottle. Each bottle and the wine is aged on the lees for minimum 18 months, and it's released to the market after 25 months of aging. By the way, if you'd like to learn more about all 6 ways of making sparkling wine, click the link above or one in the description below. Before I tell you the difference in terms of taste between Prosecco and Franciacorta, you should also know that there's 2 main types of Prosecco. Frizzante, which is lightly sparkling, and Spumante, which is fully sparkling. And if you'd like to learn more about those 2 types of Prosecco, again, click the link above or one in the description below. On the other hand, all Franciacorta wines are fully sparkling and contains approximately 6 bars of pressure, which is more or less double than in Prosecco Spumante. However, one type of Franciacorta called Satin contains less bubbles, approximately 5 bars, and is produced only from the white grapes, which can be translated as a Blanc de Blanc. And all Franciacorta Satin wines are dry in style. You should definitely try one of them because they're absolutely amazing. The other difference between Franciacorta and Prosecco is the aging regulations. Prosecco is released to the market after a few months after the harvest, which is Franciacorta, as I mentioned before, it's released to the market after 25 months, which is need to spend minimum 18 months on the lees. Franciacorta Satin and Franciacorta Rosé needs to be aged on the lees for 24 months. Then Franciacorta Millesimato, which is vintage Franciacorta, needs to be aged for 30 months. And finally, Franciacorta Reserva needs to be aged for 5 years before it's released to the market. Did you know that the most common version of Prosecco available on the market is called extra dry, which is very confusing because extra dry, it's actually medium dry. And the most common version of Franciacorta available on the market is called Brut, which is dry. So if you're looking for even a drier version of sparkling wine, go for extra brut rather than extra dry. Finally, the last difference between Prosecco and Franciacorta is the taste. In my glass I have Serena Prosecco Frizzante versus Franciacorta Bella Vista Alma Brut. The first difference is actually the color. Look at Prosecco versus Franciacorta. Franciacorta is definitely deeper in color, and this is the difference between the second fermentation between stainless steel tank wine and second fermentation inside the bottle. The second massive difference between Prosecco and Franciacorta is also the amount of bubbles. This is Prosecco frizzante, but even Prosecco spumante will be always less sparkling than Franciacorta. So now let's taste the wines. On the nose, Prosecco is medium intensity, full of green apples, white peaches and a hint of spring flowers, which is Franciacorta is full of baked apples, almonds, brioche, melon, citrus. Is actually pronounced. So the difference between Prosecco and Franciacorta on the nose, it's massive. On the palate, both wines are completely different. Prosecco is full of citrus and green apples, it's very easy drinking with short finish, which is Franciacorta is full of baked apples, almonds, some toastiness and brioche, and the finish is extremely long. But the price of Prosecco Spumante, average price of Prosecco Spumante in Ireland is approximately €25, which is average price of Franciacorta, it's 55. So I leave it up to you. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. By the way, don't miss out my next one about one of the most iconic Riesling producers in the world, which is Egon Müller. So stay tuned, don't forget to subscribe, and see you next time.